Hello investors, welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. I'm an average investor sharing my investment journey on the internet. In today's video, we'll discuss all my option trades that I have done for this week, as well as like my decision making process in doing that. So I'm going to pull up the feed for all the option trades that I did on my phone that I recorded. All right, so pretty much this is my Robinhood account, $22,410. This is me placing a order in for selling a covered call at the $31 mark. Right before this, I was kind of struggling with my screen record, but what happened is I actually placed a $31 call, and the bid price is 0.01 and the ask is 0.03, so I placed it at 0.02. Nothing was, the options weren't executing, they weren't biting, so I just went back, replaced the order, and then sold it at 0.01. It executed. Right now, I was just checking how much money I have in my account for my brokerage cash. So I have $28.84. Normally, whenever I have enough money made from like option income, I like to buy whole shares in this Robinhood account. So pretty much this is me placing one market buy order and it gets executed right away. So this is, I'm using the premium to buy more shares of Palantir. And my plan for that Palantir is to long-term invest. So ideally, I don't want to be selling at the money. I want to be selling out of the money and harvesting premium just for owning the shares. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the different covered call prices that I can sell at. For my Tesla, I like the user interface of Robinhood. I'm getting used to my Fidelity beta one, which is what I have open right now. And I just kind of have to, it's a little getting used to, but I like the user interface of Robinhood to place the covered calls and stuff. So pretty much right here, I have a couple different strategies when it comes to my shares, but right here, I'm selling a covered call close to my cost basis. My cost basis for my Tesla is around 765. So I own 300 shares of Tesla, 100 that are owned in margin and 200 that I own outright. For the 100 that I own in margin, which is what I'm doing right now, is I am selling close to my cost basis. So this is me placing one covered call at 770 and I'm checking to see if it's filled. So pretty much it got filled and I just got paid $102 for selling covered call at 770. And then now pretty much since I guess my more aggressive strategy with the margin, I am selling closer to at the money. This is where I'm just trying to trade options for getting pretty much long-term investing for Tesla. So the plan here is selling out of the like super out of the money calls to just get a little extra income for owning the shares. I'm not trying to make bank with the income. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get like around $20 per contract. So if I have two contracts, it would be 40 bucks. So my thought process around here is I actually sold around the 820. So I'm looking at it. So you have a bid that's at 24 and you have one at 20. So if I do the 20 with commissions would be under that $20 mark. So I ultimately decided to pull the trigger on the 820 so I can get $24 for the calls. And this is me putting in the quantity. I did too because again I own both of these outright, and I'm just doing my final checks here, just making sure I'm not going to mess up the order. It takes 5 more seconds just to verify everything. But yeah, so doing a market order, I'm not doing a limit order. I just want this to be executed right away. Where in Robinhood, it kind of forces you to do a limit order. So this got assigned right away. So I got $24 per contract. So if it's 2 contracts, that's $48. I calculated with the commissions and stuff. This, what I'm trying to look at right now is I'm trying to see what that commission was, but for some reason it didn't want to pop up right there. So I guess the total is like 46 bucks, but then anytime I get any money from options activity, I do like to purchase shares. In this case, I can't buy a full share of Tesla with the $48 that I got. So I have to just, instead of buying in shares, I'm just going to buy with dollar amounts. So you're going to notice that I'm going to press the dollar section over here, and then I'm going to put in $48. And this really helps like compounding. So my plan here is to just squeeze a couple extra percentage out of just owning Tesla. So, if Tesla's getting a 20% gain, if I can get an extra percentage here or there, it's going to add up in the long run. I'm not thinking short term, I'm thinking long term. and I kind of struggled with executing this because the slide bar was acting all funny. And eventually I slide that thing over, and boom, it is done. So pretty much my order is placed, and then over here I'm checking to see if it gets executed. You'll notice that when I refresh my screen, I pull the thing down, and it's going to be now 0.938, so I'm almost at 302 shares, but that is it. So now going over to my spreadsheet here, I kind of had I used to have a different spreadsheet earlier on in the year, and then I'm the type of guy I kind of keep changing my mind. But where I'm at right now is I still haven't fully, I guess, thoroughly went through the different type of things that I want to have here. But my yearly totals of option income as well as gain from sales has been $111,000. It is a stupid amount of money that I made doing options, and then I'm going to have a massive tax bill for next year. And the reason why I made that much money is I was borrowing a lot of money to make that money. Like there are some weeks where I was making $4,000 a week, and it was nuts. I sold Neo one time where like just from selling it, I made 24,000 from the sale and not even the premium. And at that time too, I was making crazy premium with crazy sales because the market was just at all-time highs. I have decided moving forward that I do not want to be using margin. Like ideally, I would want to phase it out, but this is kind of my strategy over here. So I have 100 shares I own in margin over here. Over here, I own 201 shares of Tesla that I own completely outright, that I own myself, not in margin, and I own Palantir right here. So this is a Robinhood, and both of these are in Fidelity. We'll talk about the Robinhood because it's a lot easier. In the past, I used to own this, or I still own this in Robinhood, and I decided that I wouldn't be adding money. I've decided to change my stance on that because I can make this account compound much faster if I allow myself to put money in here. So whenever I get paid, since my Roth IRA is completely full, I just split, like if I get $800 extra after all my expenses, then I'll put like $400 into this account and $400 in this account. And then we'll talk about this one and how this gets funded and all that in a second. But so pretty much this week, I sold 11 contracts for 0.01, which is $11. Last week I didn't buy any Palantir shares because I pretty much did the exact same thing. I made $11 last week. I made $11 this week, so I had some money sitting around, and then I had enough money to buy a full share. For this account, I like to purchase full shares. So I have here the cost basis price, how much my cost basis actually is, and then what the current value right now. So Palantir is a little bit down from the price I bought it, but that is okay. Eventually, like, it will get up there. We have an earnings call tomorrow before market open, so I'm expecting some pretty good things. I made $11. When you take this number, divide by your cost basis, so this week I only made 0.037%. Terribly weak. Okay, so like if you're an options investor and you only got paid that much, you're like, dude, what are you doing? Again, the key here is like I want to own this for a longer period of time, ideally. Well, I want to own both of these for a longer period of time, so ideally like 5-10 years. And the plan here is not necessarily to be harvesting a lot of premium. The plan here is just to squeeze out a couple extra percent. So I want to own this for the long term and just squeeze out some extra percentage just for owning it. So if Palantir is up 20% year over year, but then you can squeeze out an extra 2% from selling covered calls, that's a win to me. Same thing with Tesla. So these are how many shares I own, cost bases, yada, yada. Premium I made this week, $46.62. So then I really should have used this number instead of the $48, but again, I didn't calculate that before I bought the shares, but again, not a big deal. It's only like $2. But if you take this number, divide by that number, it's like 0.029%, which is, again, very weak for a weekly percentage. And then for yearly percentage, like if you only made 1.5% selling covered calls, that's terribly weak. But again, the key here to own, because I never want to sell these shares. Same thing with this. When I do phase into that, when this pays dividends, but ideally I never want to sell these shares. And if I don't sell these shares, like, hold it long term and just squeezing out extra percentages. Same thing here, weekly percentage. But if Tesla's gaining 20% year over year and I can squeeze out an extra 1.5%, then it's 21.5%. That is, over the long term, that makes a huge difference. I don't want to sell shares here. So pretty much anytime I get any premium from either of these, I want to buy shares. Now switching over to this over here is my margin that I own at Tesla. So I own 100 shares of Tesla with the same cost basis around $765, but I borrowed 73. I At the start I borrowed $88,000. Now I only have 73,000 in debt. 73,000. Let's just say 74,000. Let's make it even. 74,000 in debt. And the plan here is, I want to use the premium to pay down this debt. And right now, there's not a lot of premiums. Like, I don't want to sell under my cost basis because I refuse to do that. But because I'm borrowing this money, my margin interest, which in Fidelity is very expensive, like it's $411 to $450 per month. And so I have to be harvesting premium for over 100 and some change just to pay the interest off. And when the Tesla share price does get closer and closer to the cost basis. So right now Tesla's like at $700. When it gets closer to my cost basis over here, the premiums will be much, much more. And ideally, once I can get all the margin debt out, I would like to build a cash position. So anytime I make income, I just keep adding it to my cash position. So then ultimately, I can have one of these as a source of income, and then one would be a dividend portfolio, and so on and so forth. But just from what this is, I took this number divided by the cost basis here because that's how much I've paid total from these shares as well as these shares. So that gives me a 0.065%. Again, very poor weekly percentage, but again, once you get closer to that cost basis, these premiums will be much more. And this is the account that I want to be milking that premium. Over here, I'm selling out of the money. Over here, I'm selling at the money. So, when Tesla price is like 760, I'm selling at 765, getting that premium. And the next week, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy 100 shares because, again, I want them to get assigned. And then I want to be getting that premium every single week. And then the yearly percentage, you see 3.41%. If you take this number to multiply by 52, and that's what you get. So, this is going to be much higher once, we're milking premium at the money week over week, which is essentially what I was doing at the start of the year. But then the Tesla price crashed, and then I've been trying to dig out of a hole ever since then. So, I want to be in a position of power. And like, again, that's why I totally got out of margin over here. And then over here, as time's going on, this margin is going to be getting paid down and down. You'll notice in my thumbnails that like my first options video, I was like negative 80,000, then it's negative 54,000. And then this video is going to be like negative 74,000. I'm just writing my total amount of money that I have for this options account, this one in particular. But then once it turns into a cash position, ideally it will turn from a negative to a positive, and then I would like to add to that account. But then for the month of August, my total amount of premium that I made was $326.86. Again, this is going to be a lot lower than what I used to do in the past, but I'm okay with that because I'm more about being a little bit more conservative and making safer investment. So when I make these videos, I want to pretty much make one of these option videos every single week. I don't want to be going too crazy into the details. I think the next video will probably be a lot shorter than this one. It's just going to show the option trades, just like how I showed the Robinhood and Fidelity. Just do a quick one over, and then that's about it. And then I'm going to be having a video on Friday talking about my total net worth as well as like my money strategy associated with each one, which will actually be a really interesting video about all the cash flows coming into each one of these accounts. So yeah, guys, appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you take care, and I'll see you in the next one.